day, everyone. Terry Lee Harrison here with another edition of Let's Talk Networking, and I am so excited to have this time with you. Now, many of you know that I am passionate about helping coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs be able to network in the most dynamic and lucrative way. Today, we're continuing the discussions we've been having this week about putting your big ask out there when you're networking, about asking for what you need in a way that people can hear it. As you're coming in today, I want to invite you, let me know where you're coming from. I'd like to say hello, Sean, great to see you. And so today I want to talk about the element of our self-confidence, our self-worth, our loving ourselves, feeling that we're not good enough, how that can play out in not such a great way in our networking. So I'm going to start by just sharing with you. Many of you see my Supergirl cape and in the background, and I'm not going to say it travels Singapore with me on a daily basis. And welcome, Sean. Great to see you. It doesn't travel Singapore with me, but every time I pack a suitcase, which I'm hoping to be soon, that cape goes with me. And that cape has appeared at business meetings. That cape, you never know when it might come out. But the thing about the cape is there was many years in my life when I absolutely would not have even thought about wearing a cape, because you see, I didn't think I was good enough, and I didn't think it was okay to be me. And while I, on the outside, looked okay, I had this persona, like I was successful, and I did all the things like to look successful. I wanted to look perfect in the outside, because I thought if I looked perfect on the outside that people might not, they might not see what was really going on in the inside. Many human beings, most human beings struggle with this. And maybe you know exactly what I mean. So I talk a lot. I wrote my book talking about my story back in 2013. My book is my story of where I've been and what I've been through. And it's called The Shameless Life, Recognize Your Shame and Overcome It. And it's a pertinent topic to all business owners because we all have faced these things. So shame comes from three places, and one of them is the things you've done. We're ashamed of our past. We're ashamed of where we've been. Another place that it can come from is it can come from awkward feelings about how you're made, right? And that's where mine came from. Hi, Annabella, welcome. That's where mine came from, and I'll share a little bit more about that with you. The third place is it's the things that people have done to us and said to us. When I was researching for my book many years ago now, I remember just really learning that a third of the people walking the planet today have been abused. They've been abused maybe by family, friends, a spouse, right? And so there are all the people that have sometimes taken on the words that people have shared. They've taken on the physical pain, right? And they've attached that to themselves. And while on the outside, hey, we're business owners, we're doing the thing, we're positive, we're moving forward, or maybe you're in the corporate world, same thing, we're doing the things, right? We put on that mask that everything is fine, but everything may not be fine. So in my case, it wasn't that anyone hurt me, wasn't that anyone beat me, it wasn't that I had anyone saying awful things to me, telling me that I was worthless and all the things, right? I had the most loving parents and supportive parents in the world, who beat myself up every day for over 30 years was Terry Lee. I beat myself up every day. No one had to do it for me. My shame comes from the fact that I have a condition. I was not healthy. I knew from the time I was 4, I started having surgeries, and various surgeries. By the time I was 14, I had had 3. And awkward feelings about how we're made, the thing about them is they're personal. And some people may say, it can be you're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too thin. It can be you can't gain enough weight, you can't lose enough weight. It can be your skin is too dark, your skin is too light, right? It is a personal thing how people feel about this. And some people might tell you about it. You might be like, oh, that's no big deal. I wish I was taller. right? But it's not, it's that personal, how do we take it and where do we go from here, right? So for me, I was born with a condition that my female reproductive organs are underdeveloped. And I found out when I was about 12, the way it was presented to me, it was like at the time that I was different than all other girls. I was different than all other girls. I had to have surgery to even be able to menstruate. So puberty, guys, is an awful, awkward enough time anyway. Are you with me? Puberty's awkward enough anyway, let alone thinking you're different than everyone else in the world. So for many years, I put on this face. I mean, I looked pretty on the outside. I was so cute growing up, so pretty, right? Beautiful. I am now. I'm just the almost 55-year-old version of it, right? But when I look back at my pictures from the past, I don't know if any are here, but I'm like, okay, wow, I put on a good front. I put on a good front that everything was okay, but everything was not okay. I stuffed those feelings down deep inside and I didn't let them out. And when you stuff your feelings deep inside and you don't let them out, they fester down there, right? And they just get worse and worse and worse. And for 30 years, every day as I would get out of bed and my feet would hit the floor, it's not like I would say to myself, hey, you're different than all other girls, you're not good enough. But it literally was the baggage I carried every single day. So I spent many years in the corporate world and I would progress in a company and I would do the things. I mean, I was doing well. But yet at a certain point I would self-sabotage. My personal life was a complete disaster. My current husband is my third husband. Okay. I could not hold relationships. I could not do the things that I needed to do. And when I look back at my life, I created this warpath of relationships. Like, some people have their friends for 40 years. I sometimes didn't. I'm not the same person that I was in those times, right? I struggled in my relationships. And so when I became a business owner, started independent contracting, networking, right? You know what I found? Because we talk a lot about and maybe this will resonate with one person. If it resonates with one person, it's worth it, right? We talk a lot about building business relationships. If I didn't like me, I was afraid you wouldn't like me. It's really hard to show up and succeed, isn't it? When you don't like yourself, when you don't love yourself, when you're not really confident about you and your abilities and all the things that you can do. So I would do the things I needed to do. And again, self-sabotage, get so far, right? And I knew a lot of people, but my ability to go and build solid relationships and amazing relationships with people, thank you, Sean. My ability to do that, it was hard. It was hard. I could have done so much more. I could have been more, done so much more. And there's nothing wrong with what I accomplished, because what I accomplished is amazing. So personal thing as an aside. Okay, so here I am. We know now that it doesn't look like I have, like my female organs, my reproductive organs were not fully developed. And yet no one told me when I was 12 and finding these things out, right? No one told me you'll never have kids. And I think it's a good thing I didn't need to know at 12, right? So I just assumed I was going to have kids. And God, I went through some periods of time when it wasn't happening, and in my marriages, I wasn't getting pregnant, right? And God gave me the gift of somehow, when everything doesn't look right, everything worked right. And so I was able to birth my own children. So some of you have seen Jackie, who just turned 28 last week, and Cole, he turns 20 in a couple weeks. Some of you have seen them. Some of you have met them. And I was just given this most amazing gift, because the truth is they shouldn't be here. They should not be here by the way that I was made inside. And so for 30 years, I carried around, I wasn't good enough. I was the only one that had this issue. And I'll tell you what, networking and having my own business changed my life. It introduced me to personal development. It introduced me to coaches that can mentor you, help you do the things that you need to do. And it was in this process that one day I found myself sitting at a Starbucks across the table in Laverne, California, across from Michael Price. Michael is a speaker, a coach. He teaches the courage of fearless thinking. And we're having our coffee and we're talking. And he says to me, so this is 12 years ago now. He said to me, so what do you want to work on today? And I said, oh my gosh, Michael, I am so disorganized. Like, you walk in my house and everything looks amazing, but every drawer, every closet, right? Every nook and cranny in my house is a mess inside. I said, in fact, I said, my poor husband, we can't even park in the garage. Like, the garage is just full of stuff, right? Yes, Dr. Patricia, networking is amazing. It's life-changing. It's why I loved teaching people how to network better. And Michael looked at me, we were talking, and he goes, tell me about your childhood. So here I am, 30 years later, and I said, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, he thinks I was abused. Michael thinks I was abused. And I was like, wait. I said, I had a great childhood. I said, but I was sick a lot. And that night I went home and I looked online. You know, when I was 12 in the dark ages, we didn't have the internet, right? So we saw the doctors. My parents did the best they could. We did the things, right? Nobody knew about all the stuff, right? I was this big secret, right? My parents didn't want people making fun of me, right? And so they did the best they could at the time. And so when I went online, I didn't know what to put, but I typed in something. And inside of that was all of a sudden a bunch of stuff popped up. And I was so surprised. And I came to find out that I have a condition that 1 in 5,000 women have. And I really think for the most part, people don't talk about it. It's becoming more and more open. And today I'm in community with women around the world. But it's called Mrkh Syndrome. And Mrkh Syndrome is people tend to have the underdeveloped reproductive tract. They tend to have like kidney abnormalities, and like that's the surgery I had when I was 4. They tend to have what else? Oh, skeletal issues, some hearing issues. I've never had hearing issues, but I do have scoliosis. I have rods in my back. The surgery was done when I was 14. And the thing for me that I realized was I needed surgery to begin to menstruate, but most young ladies find out that they have Mrkh syndrome when they are not starting their period, when everybody that they know their age has started and they go to the doctor to kind of see what has happened, right? They are really, like, as far as an underproductive reproductive tract, some of them are born like without a uterus in its entirety. Now, while mine does not look right and totally right, while mine doesn't look right, this is the thing for me. That smashed through my wall of shame, that exploded some of the baggage I was carrying. And that's that really people with my condition, I kind of liken it to a spectrum. So if like autism has a spectrum, there's a spectrum of deformity, right? So for me, I don't know what you believe, but I'm just going to say for me personally, what I believe is that when I was being made, that God said, just give her enough, give her just enough, right? Because this is the gift I shouldn't have had. And for me, I thought I was junk for 30 years when I began to realize I was a miracle. That I was a miracle. And it began to change everything for me. And I began to do more work. I still had tons of work to do on Terry Lee, right? I would have never had a Supergirl cape, owned one, Use one, warn one, because I never felt like that, right? And still today, I'm going to tell you, I still, in the personal work I do, so from time to time, things will come up. Things will totally come up and I'll be like, man, I thought I worked on that. And so I'm here to tell you that in our own life, there are many of my business owner friends who you want to go out and you want to reach the masses. You want to help others. You want to do all the things, and you have that message, that method, right? You have all the things, but yet if we haven't done our own work and helped yourself first, you can't go be the hero for everyone else. So my loving message to you is, I talk about all the things, making connections, power partners. I talk about all the networking, right? All the things, make the connections. And what I have come to know is that, I lost my quote. It's my own quote. It's my firm belief. Shoot, I've lost it. Oh, and it's so awesome. But what it is here it is. Sorry. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to allow others to love you for who you really are. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to allow others to love you for who you really are. I see so many business owners that will show up and talk about how they never went to college, how they were a homeless veteran, all the things, right? People that know your story will I have found, only love you more, right? People are inspired by your story. And so if you've not done any work yet, if you totally get where I am and gosh darn it, you're sabotaging yourself all over the place, right? Then it's time to do some work, right? There are coaches, counselors. Sometimes it's just the fact that you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I've been carrying this secret, and you're going to tell one person. If you need someone to tell, you can DM me. You can reach out to me. I'm happy to I would be honored to be the one that you say, oh my gosh, I so resonate with what you said, right? So for your big ask, I talk about it. Hey, we should put our big ask out there, but I believe many of you have big asks. Your goals are important. Your whys are important. You are important. You are important. What you've been through does not define you. And I just think that there are people who need you right now. There are people who need you. There are people who I've been talking to about the big ask, and they're like, oh, sure. Like they ask for one client at a time, and like they're not putting it out there. And it's some of it may be at the foundation of some of the icky stuff I've been talking about. So know that I'm here. Know that I've been there. Know that this is one of the most foundational things you do. Understand that I don't take asking for the big ask lightly. I think it's crucial to get you where you need to go, and believing in yourself is key. It's just absolutely key. So I just want to thank you if you've listened this far, thank you for honoring me by letting me share my story. Take a step today. If you know that you understand this and you know that it's time that you move forward, make a step today to get some help. Make a step today. If you're someone and you are like, oh my gosh, I so resonate with this, message me. I will send you a PDF ebook of my book talking about more about my story and about overcoming shame. I would be happy to send you my gift, a PDF ebook version of my story. So know that I care, know that you matter, know that you're important. And while I am all about networking, I'm all about having you be on fire about you, who you are personally, and about your life. So as we always say, thank you, Patricia. Patricia says, acceptance is the key to overcoming my differences. That is so right. Our own acceptance and accepting that others have their thing. Others have their thing, right? We all carry things. They're just different. Our stories are different. They're absolutely different. So as always, thank you, Sean. my story is a gift, and my life is a gift, and I need to wake up every day and honor that. And I know many of you feel the same way. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the next edition of Let's Talk Networking. I am Terry Lee Harrison, and as always, let's cheer each other on and help each other grow. Everyone have a great rest of your day or evening.